Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode. I think this is number 8 of the Funky Marketing Podcast. My name is Nemanja Živković, CEO of Funky Marketing, and I'm your host. So Funky Marketing Podcast is a place where I get to talk to the people from marketing, sales, design, all different backgrounds, people who are entrepreneurs, but also people who are just good people doing good job for the good people. So today I have the pleasure to meet a great guy. We don't know each other live. We only met online. So basically this will be the introduction and you will get to be a part of it. So Mario, please give us a little bit of your background and tell us who you really are.
Hey everyone, my name is Mario. My last name a bit harder to pronounce, so we'll leave it out at this moment. Well, since today we're gonna talk about sales, I have about 20 years in sales, doing all sorts of sales, from door to door, and from the telemarketing sales, party sales, and then about last, let's say 10 years in IT and B2B selling, right? So that's kind of the too long didn't read version of me. I read a lot. I'm like a big proponent of reading and self-improvement. I'm also what is known as seminar whore. And you can edit this maybe later. So I go to every seminar, every webinar. I kind of just digest everything that comes my way. Yeah. Currently working with a very cool startup called Consorto, and launching my own agency called Growthnetix that does lead generation services, basically generating SQLs on demand using outbound sales methodology.
I think that this is something that a lot of people are looking to find, good ones, but they're not that many.
Well, good ones, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Don't know who I've been talking to, like I think Milorad told me that he's also creating like outbound sales team also, so it's nice that the people that know what they are doing are actually doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, just go on LinkedIn if you follow people. What I've noticed is that kind of my philosophy, so how I view sales and how sales should be done, is very much aligned with top performance. So I said, well, okay, I tried a bunch of stuff doing in 2020, nothing worked. So guess I'll open up my own. It's it kind of this type of a year, I would say.
Yeah, good. Another one who is starting business in 2020.
Oh yeah. I don't care if it's COVID or Ebola or whatever it is. Just rock and roll.
Yeah, cool. So I have a question, and it's always interesting to me, like we all get to hear like Gary V's of the world and other people, like they were selling as kids, and this is what got them into like entrepreneurship and sales. So did you do the same or no?
Oh yeah. So I was 6th or 7th grade. So that's 12, 13 years of age. And look, living in Serbia, former Yugoslavia, with UN sanctions, and when you have nothing ever, you kind of have to, get some money. So I began selling makeup in some, but they still run, so it's a kind of an MLM, right? But I didn't care about getting people in. I just wanted to sell it, get my commission, so I can pay for my school trips, like end of the, you know what I mean, at the end of the 8th grade big trip, and then at the end of my high school trip. So I worked my ass off, being the top salesman in that kind of small cluster, because like, and I remember this vividly, like you couldn't get any stuff in Serbia. Our team leader had to go to Hungary, buy shit there, and then bring it back so I can distribute it all over the place. So yeah, it began selling cosmetics to my mom and my mom's friends and her coworkers.
Nice, and I think we're still kind of in the same loop because like when I was looking to buy a microphone, the best, this is the second best I get. The best one we couldn't buy it in Serbia, so we still had to go to the Hungary.
Still having those flashbacks from 90s.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so business world and marketing and sales, all of it has definitely gone through some changes. B2B as well, and it's going in a positive direction. I can see it, but for my taste, it's going very slowly. Some things that I guessed that would happen didn't happen, like all those things, you know, like people going after SQLs, not going after MQLs, those kind of things. And it didn't get only harder. In a way, it got even more complicated and complex because the products and the services are getting more complex. And that's why like building it is become harder, and especially like selling them. So what's your like overview of that?
Well, look, my overview, like my attitude, my opinion towards it was always the same. It's never easy. Like it's always very hard. The only question is, can we make it more or less complicated or more or less complex, right? So I think on one part you're right. It has gotten a bit more complex. But I would say it didn't get any harder because it's very hard as is, right? Like if everyone did sales and everyone was good at it, we would have a lot more millionaires on our hands, but we don't, you know? So for me, it's always been keep reading a lot and keeping my mind sharp and just following people who do sales day to day. Right? Because those are the people who are in the trenches. And if you're relying on, or you're not reading or not kind of bettering yourself, you would just, especially like COVID has definitely did like accelerated us as humans in the ways of technology, but also change how we sell. And those who don't adapt will probably die out. Like it's that simple.
Can you tell me a few people that you're following? Maybe we can recommend people who to follow.
Yeah,
who do you see as a reliable source?
Yeah, well, one of my, like, I'm one of the biggest evangelists of Josh Brown. He's very active on LinkedIn, very common sense. He's I think former VP of sales of Basecamp. Now he has his own sales and training agency. So I highly recommend you follow him. And then also just I could look at LinkedIn, but just like people who are doing day-to-day sales and kind of talk about it, right? If I were to recommend anyone, probably Josh Brown, maybe Keenan. He's the author of Gap Selling. He's awesome. His videos also are very insightful. So maybe if you're just starting in sales or you don't know who to follow, I would kind of recommend these two guys.
Cool. I think I'm following both of them. So yeah. Mission accomplished. I said that I think it's maybe getting harder to sell, but I think as somebody who is coming from the B2C background to the B2B, I'm seeing that some things are getting easier in most of all, we know to whom we're selling. We don't know just the name of the company. We actually know the people on positions. We know the seniority. We know all those kind of things. Now, if we're gonna get there or no, that's another thing. It's interesting that when I'm talking with companies and when we come up like, who's your target target group, they're talking about them still as companies, not as like, I need to go to that person, to this company, he's in charge of the deal that I need to make. And it's still like, you don't target the object, you target the people inside the company, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like it would, and I do a lot of trainings with startups. Shout out to any Startup Wise Guys alumni and people from Startup Wise Guys listen to this. I'm a sales mentor for the past 3 years. And whenever I talk about this specific subject, there is always a very good litmus test, right? So since you're in sales, you're kind of out there to solve a problem, right? So if there is no problem, there is no motivation for change. Other than that, the problem actually needs to be hurting in order for the change to be there. But one of the best questions you can ask if you want to find that person is, if this problem is not solved, who gets fired in that specific company? Yeah, it's a very simple question, but like just kind of makes you think, right? Who gets fired? If no one gets fired, maybe your product is not solving a big problem. So you should maybe think twice about that.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I love it. I mean, in marketing, we're usually saying you need someone who is frustrated enough to think about it right now. But this one is also one of the best answers that I heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, in Serbian, onaj što ga žulja nešto.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So tell me, if I know that you are a lover of the processes as I am. So how do you set up the process? Let's use an example. I don't know. Let's first go to this. What's the process of SMB company, and what's the process for the enterprise? Are they different? How they are different? How the sales overall is different?
You mean how would I approach?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it comes to the beginning of our talk today. It's about complexity, right? So you still need to cover your bases. In SMBs, there is like a smaller amount of people you need to cover, quote unquote, right? To sell to. Like, there are less influencers that will inevitably influence whether or not you get to sell or whether or not you will eat tomorrow, right? Because you're in sales. If you don't sell, you don't eat. In enterprise is not so much different. Your main objective when selling to enterprises, you have to map out everyone. Like, there are 4 types of influencers, and well, let's call it people who will influence whether or not you will sell in an enterprise. And then your job is to find all of these people, cover all of them, whatever that means, and then go from there. It's just more time and, well, I wouldn't say more time, but it's just a bit more complex, right? The time, or like, everyone just talks, oh, how long is your sales cycle? And can we shorten the sales cycle? Like, why would you ask that? Like, if you're selling a $50 widget for an enterprise and you have 100 people, that's $5,000 or euros per month. That's not a lot of money, and probably some mid-level manager has the authority to authorize that. But if you're selling an enterprise level solution that costs $10 million per year, like, everyone in the company will be involved in that deal. It probably be a year, maybe a year and a half while you sell it. Right? So
yeah. I think one other thing that's like maybe the difference is when it comes to time, is the uncertainty. Because like in enterprise sales, you can try to sell for a year to an enterprise, and you don't know if the deal is going to be closed in a year or no, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a different beast in regards to time. But it's still the same amount of work. Like if you're selling to 20 small companies, you have 20 decision makers. If you're selling to an enterprise, you still have 20 decision makers.
It's a great analogy.
I mean, people who influence sale, I wouldn't call them decision makers, but people who influence the sale. Yeah. Using the Herman Miller, if you ever read New Strategic Selling by Herman Miller, that's their terminology that I really, really love when it comes to selling to enterprise.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's get a little bit into the one of the favorite topics these days. I think this year in marketing and LinkedIn environment, sure. And it is like the connection between marketing and sales. So my opinion about it is that salespeople usually know how to do marketing. Marketing people have no idea how to do sales because they don't talk to the customers. That's one of the first things, and they don't have any desire to do that in most cases. But when you look at it from another perspective, like 80% of the agency do lead generation. And when you do lead generation, usually going after MQLs, but it doesn't matter. So they practically do sales. They don't do marketing because they are aligned to goal, which is get more leads, right? So I want to get just an introduction. I want to get into how do you see the relationship between marketing and sales? How sales is developing, also having marketing in mind.
That's kind of an age-old question. What is the relationship between sales and marketing? In the ideal world, these two entities should work together closely because like one messaging, it's always wrong that you have one messaging coming from marketing and then sales talks about something else. And so kind of this disconnect between the two entities, for me, it's sales has evolved a bit, and I think the new role of kind of chief revenue officer that's kind of popped up in maybe last 3 or 4 years sums it all, because that's kind of the person that holds the reins of both marketing and sales, and it kind of keeps everyone aligned, which is in the end everyone should be working towards the same goal. Although what I've seen most of the time, they are not. Like a lot of infighting, a lot of interdepartmental squabble, especially if you have a maybe larger teams. And like, dude, like we are all going like in that direction. Like, why is it like, but everyone is pulling like this, right? So I don't know. I've worked with some excellent marketeers, and I always try to position myself as, okay, well, let's talk. This is the feedback from the field. This is what we are getting. This is what customers tell us. I try to involve client success as well, and then just like try to work together towards the same goal, right? Like you don't have to serve sales, and sales doesn't have to serve marketing, but kind of working together, which I know it's utopia and it doesn't work that way, but that's kind of my opinion about it, my stance.
Yeah, I see it kind of the same. What we are trying to do here is like we create the demand, we create the marketing engine. It gets people inside, people who are SQLs. We don't get them to sales until they click on the button, I want to talk to the sales, or I want to see the demo, or whatever it is, the CTA. Then when you do it like that, you can have just 2 experienced people in sale to close the deals, because those people actually want to buy the product or the service.
Yeah,
in most cases.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say wanna buy. I say the ultimate goal of both marketing and, let's say, outbound reach or outbound research is to generate interest. To say, okay, well, the stuff that you're telling kind of resonates with me, and I would like to learn more. I would kind of like to see what the hell is happening there, right? And then the goal of it's called an account executive. Well, the goal of the sales in that specific situation is to diagnose the problem further, do a demo, and then hopefully close the sale, right?
Yeah, and I mean, what I was trying to say is that if you do it like that and you get people who have the certain level of interest and familiarity with the product, basically the sales don't need to do exactly as marketing is doing. Marketing can be focused on inbound and getting those SQLs, and sales then have time to do something different, as you said, like maybe go outbound and do other channels to generate more revenue.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's always hard to keep everything under one umbrella, as they call it.
Well, yeah, just getting everyone aligned, right? Because we should be working towards the same goal, but then at the end, everyone has its own agendas, everyone has its own personal goals, and then for me, it's like kind of like, why do you, like, the blame that comes when sales blame, you didn't bring me enough leads, or when marketing says, we brought you leads and you are too incompetent to close them. And then it's like, it's not getting us anywhere, right? Like, how can we be better at the end of the day? That's actually my favorite motivational poster. Be better.
As simple as that. Like, it reminds me of what I was doing like back in, I don't know, 2018. I was the GM of the agency, and I was in charge of the biggest clients. So I didn't have anyone to overview what I'm doing except the owners, but that's another story. So I had to come up with my own goals. And I set up a goal, just get at least 3 relevant people on the website every day. That's it, just increase it by 3. And I learned tons of things just by doing that, because, okay, I did that, I got this. It worked for 5 days. Now I got to do something different. It stopped working. So I come to something else. And it's just like something that keeps you going. But I mean, this is an example of somebody who is crazy, who knows what he wants to do and achieve.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. I mean,
no. I agree. And one of the things, especially when we talked a little bit about the influence of the pandemic and COVID and how everything has changed for me, and it took me a really long time to kind of embrace this philosophy, but when I took an NLP course, like more than 10 years ago, there was one of these sentences kind of always stuck with me. And only maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I really started to kind of live it. And that the sentence goes like this, like the most flexible, this is a sentence taken from cybernetics. So it says the most flexible part of the system has a tendency to control the system, meaning try to be flexible. And I would say both for sales and marketeers who don't adapt, who are not flexible, just it's gonna lose out. Like if you are stuck in one mindset, one way of thinking, not expanding your comfort zone, I can see a very short career.
Perfectly said. And I mean, I'm seeing changes, and I mean, sales, marketing. I'm seeing people building personal brands on LinkedIn, people positioning themselves, sharing knowledge. I mean, if you work in sales, you have a lot of one-on-ones of potential clients or conversations. And it's so easy to share at least one thing a day, specific thing inside. You don't even have to mention a name or whatever. But just by doing that, you create that trust ahead before you even jump on a call with someone. They know you, they know who you are, what you present, what you sell. So it's kind of an interesting approach when you have to go into creating relationships, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, but again, this takes discipline. This takes a bit of planning, and people are just simply not willing to do that. Like, I know a lot of people, well, not that, it doesn't matter if you're sales and marketing or whatever. Like, I know a lot of people who just, look, I just want to work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. And I, like, when I leave the office, I don't want even to think about anything, right? Which is fine, right? But those are not the entrepreneurs of the world. Those are not the people who actually make things happen. So I've learned very early in my career that whatever I do, it kind of needs to like kind of hover all the time here, just like a little bit of thinking about all of that, right? About how business works, how can I be better than I was the day before? How can I sell just €1 more day in, day out, right?
It's interesting. I went through that early in my career, early in my management career, let's say. Yeah. When I tried to do with everybody what I did for myself, how I got to the GM position. So I want them to read more, to get educated more, to do more based on that. And then I got the feedback and I realized some people want just to work 8 hours a day, go home and don't care about anything. And that's okay. But then you think about, are those people really the people that you want in your company based on your goals? And that's, then you go into different conversation, but it has nothing to do against those people.
No, it's I'm just saying that that's the way of the world, right? So, and that's why not every single person on a planet is an entrepreneur and has its own successful, whatever success means, company and private business, right? So, I've talked more on this topic in the past. I just say, okay, it's the way of the world, and that's it. Like, some people are this way, some people are that way, and it's fine.
Yeah, you can just do just so much about it. That's that's it. Yeah. Cool. So what do you think will happen in the next few months? What are some things that we have adopted this year, or maybe like recently? What are some things that we're gonna implement more? What are some things that we're gonna do less?
Well, that I definitely see people are, especially people who were reluctant to use tech, are now far more open to it. And kind of as maybe as a planet, we are a lot more open to using and embracing technology in, well, not just in business, but like in our everyday lives. This pandemic has been a really powerful stress test to see what can survive it and what cannot, and what should be, especially because I'm working in the commercial real estate with a commercial real estate startup. I see what is happening regarding transactions, right? Like retail, hospitality, just slowly dying out, right? If e-commerce was big before the pandemic, look at it now. but that's the evolution. What I don't have kind of a crystal ball. I can really only speculate, right? I I hope we come back to something resembling pre-pandemic times. I don't think we will get back fully to what was before. I say we will go back to some mix when we speak about, let's say, sales or marketing. But I'm an optimist. I have a lot of faith in modern medicine. I have faith that we will get through this and maybe be better as human beings at the end of the day. I do have a lot of optimism towards the future. So
that's good that you trust us as human beings. Like I saw the article.
What else we can do? Like if
I think I have less optimism now when I saw the article this morning in the Serbian portal that says like COVID is not only doing damage to your health, it's also doing damage to your brain. So you want to infect other people. That's how it infects you. So are we in the zombie land or what is happening? So
Jesus.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, it's definitely some things are going to be different. And I think a lot more companies understood now what they can do with digital.
Oh yeah, a wake-up call, definitely.
Yeah, wake up, even seeing like the musicians doing online courses, teaching people how to sing, how to play, how to produce music, whatever it is. And it's kind of interesting. Like you used to have everything on hand a few months ago. Now you have everything on hand, ready, just ready for you.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's been trying times, I would say, for everyone, especially the kind of pandemic fatigue mentally. I like in the middle of it all, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I've deleted all my social media accounts except for LinkedIn, right? I keep it for business, but I deleted in Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, like everything. Like we were bombarded with so much, I would say, despair and negativity. And then, of course, the algorithms just amplify all of that. So you get more despair and more negativity because you react to it. And we live in the attention economy. So they just keep trying to monetize all of it. And it's just been very healthy for me to turn all that noise. I just go once in 2 weeks, see what is happening and say, okay, and just go on with my life, blissfully ignorant.
That's cool. I've been thinking about it, especially when it comes to Facebook, but I use it just to get out my frustration or whatever it is on my mind. I use it like Twitter, and on Twitter, I'm talking about basketball. So we had NBA, luckily, so it was something to talk about and something to watch. Like, and my wife is especially happy that new season is starting on 22nd of December, so I won't sleep early again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the NFL. So shout out to my NFL buddies. And we were like, is there gonna be a season? Is there not gonna be a season? What's happening? But like the season must like that. The NFL is the driving force of the US economy. Like everything revolves around NFL. So we would say, yeah, definitely gonna be a season. Just kind of vent out.
I have a question about something that we already talked about here on this podcast, but since you are working a lot with startups, I'm working recently also a lot. I think also with the wise guys, but in agrotech, here with the Bioscience Institute, and like what do you recommend to startups when they just start? How to get the first customers? That's kind of something that I want. My understanding is that I mean, when you start, you go outbound, okay, to get a first traction. But also you need first to build like, if you're going serious, first need to build like marketing engine. It can be just one person, and then you go with sales. You don't build a team with sales. Sales is here just to amplify everything and take it to the next level. So I want to just get your opinion about it.
Yeah, well, I advocate the exact opposite, because especially when you're pre-revenue or early revenue startup, which is the startups that I usually work with, you need, first of all, and we are talking in B2B field, right? So we are not talking about B2C. So in B2B field, first of all, you need to leverage your network. So it's called FNF, friends and family. So people who you know, people you work with, people that do trust you, and that's your first several sales. Like you do it. You as a founder have to do those sales, right? And then you do whatever founders do, plus sales until you die. And then when you're dead, when they have your funeral, then you hire someone to do more. So as for whether or not having marketing versus sales, I would say that depends a lot about what kind of product you have. And to be more precise, what kind of problem are you solving and where are your customers, right? So if you can reach them by doing marketing and like draw them in inbound, yeah, man, like do marketing. If not, if they are on the phone or WhatsApp or whatever, so then dude, pick up the damn phone and make the calls. Like it's that easy. I mean, it's not easy, but it's an easy choice. What kind of a decision you need to make, right? This is where they are, so I can reach them and using this channel or two channels, because you don't have any money, you have to do it by yourself, right?
Yeah, love it. I mean, here where I'm in a co-working, there was a guy like a few months ago coming, said he's doing sales. He's basically finding people who are truck drivers, and he sells that people to the truck driving companies. And he doesn't have a website, he doesn't have anything. He has LinkedIn, but he basically just have his phone, and he has relationships, and that's it. I just need this space for 2 days to talk with people and to close some deals, and this is all I do.
That's it. Your phone and maybe your email, like that's kind of enough.
Yeah, and yeah, it's different depending on the startup, and I mean, we are a lot of time we are talking about those things like they are all kind of in the same bubble, but there is so much diversity all around the startups, even if in just SaaS or just finance or wherever.
Yeah, and it's like, look, this is one of the things that I teach startups. It's what is your clients or potential clients' relationship with the problem? Like how do your potential clients see the problem that you're solving? Do they know that they have a problem or not? Or they know that they have a problem but it's not hurting them that, or they don't see that it hurts, or they have a problem and it hurts a lot, or they don't see that they have a problem. So what is like you need to know what is the relationship, and that will determine how you will try to get them to use your solution.
We seem to lost Mario. Okay, let's wait for a few minutes. Maybe he'll join us again. Something wrong with the internet or something like that. Anyway, we had a good conversation around sales, about B2B sales. We talked a lot about what's going to happen after COVID, what's been happening pre-COVID, and generally it's been a great conversation. I will just talk for a few more minutes to see if Mario can reconnect, so we can have like share some thoughts for the end. Because in the next, I think, 1 or 2 episodes, I want to go more into sales and talk about that side of the things, because we are just here for the marketing. Here is Mario joining us again. Great, so we can have the chance to end the conversation.
I am here back.
Yeah.
My computer just literally turned itself down. Like it just shut down for some reason.
Technology is failing us.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I think we are coming close to the end of the today's episode. So one thing I'm asking all the people is, Mario, do you have like anything to say for the end? Something that you thought it was good to talk about, or something that we forget to mention, or some recommendation or advice you want to give to the people, whatever.
Read books, people. The best thing I can say, just kind of hang in there, try to do your best, and try to somehow adapt to everything that is happening around you, right? This is no ordinary times that we are living in. Regardless of what the numbers say, I think we, as well, with the exception of a few countries, are handling this pandemic pretty well. We don't have 80 million dead. That was just 100 years ago when the Spanish flu was hot. But it's like we are trying, we are adapting. It's just as I said, I'm a big optimist of what comes and what the future will bring us. So hang in there. And if you need anyone to do sales, shameless self-promotion.
Yeah, you know where to find him on LinkedIn. He just told you.
Yeah. Yep. On LinkedIn. Yep. You can find me there.
Yeah, there is one thing I would add besides the books is listen to music and dance from time to time. I like to each step that I'm seeing as a step up, I like to dance it out. Just to play some music. I was just a guest on Megan Bowen's podcast, and she asked me kind of the same thing, to recommend something. So I said read comics besides books, and also like play some music, because it was like 7 p.m. when we were recording the podcast, and I started to work from 8 a.m. So I told her, if I didn't have a chance to play, like, I don't know, what was it? Bruce Springsteen, My Hometown, loudly in the office before the call, I would be asleep for this podcast, and we wouldn't do it. So that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice. Yeah, music.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, this was it for this episode. I definitely think we talk about a lot of topics. Actually, we started a lot of topics, so I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation in the next month. Mario can join us again, and
be happy to.
Yeah, thank you for listening, and see you next Wednesday.
Bye, everyone.